Greetings and welcome, my friends. This is the Italian Job 8, the deck that swerved and went to the dark side. Out went white, and we brought in some tools in black to lay down the law. Our black payload will make them pay whether they've brought men or not. We're still aiming to take games long, but this time around we've got a number of ways to get across the finish line. Let's get in there. We're playing the full set of Into the Flood Maw, the 1-mana bounce spell that can delay a strong opening from the opponent. The bounce might be enough to buy us a turn or two while we build up to be able to fire off permanent solutions to enemy men. We can also gift the opponent a tapped sushi and bounce any non-land permanent for the same single blue mana. Stormchaser's talent is a fantastic talent that's worked amazingly well since the first version, and we're playing the full set of it here as well. It costs just 1 blue mana to play out, and we get an otter token that serves to block, or it can take some life points away from the opponent. Taking it to level 2 will give us an instant or sorcery from our grave back to our hand. It's a great way to be able to reuse some of our weapons. For 6 mana, we can take it to level 3, and that will give us an otter token with every instant and sorcery we fire off. We can use level 3 as a way to flood the board with tokens and smash opposing life totals. Auroral Procession is a fantastic card that will let us get back any card we have in our grave for only 2 mana. Plus, we can fire it off at instant speed, so we can get back a card at the end of the opponent's turn to react to something they've played out. Luis is a win con on his own. We can ramp to high levels of mana, and from there we can drop in a lethal Luis to snipe the opponent's life total. Plus, he has lifelink, so even if he doesn't kill off the opponent, we have a big threat on board that will gain life for us with every hit. Outrageous Robbery is another silver bullet in our arsenal. Once we have a pile of mana, we can fire it off and steal a good chunk of the opponent's deck. Then we can use their cards against them. And because it is an instant, we can get it back with a talent and hit them a second or third time even. Doppel is the hammer, and the opponent's face is the anvil. We can make a big pile of our best permanents, as well as the opponent's. This is a second way we can take their cards and use them for our purposes. For some time now, we've been ending games by making copies of our own deserts, and we can do the same here. Fire in the opponent hole. Stock Up is our favorite dig spell. With it, we get to look at the top 5 cards of our deck and take the 2 we need the most. For 3 mana, we can fire this off early and stock up on cards we need, and later in the game, the 3 mana cost is low enough that we can make other plays after we stock up. Ancient Cornucopia is our mana artifact. It does 3 things for us, which are all critical to our success. It ramps us and can fix our colors. We do have color requirements thanks to being in 3 colors, and we want to be able to be sure we can play out our cards, and it gains us life with every colored card we play out. Map the Frontier is another ramp card. This one will fetch out a pair of lands. We can fetch out basics or a pair of deserts, or one of each. Going from 4 mana to 6 or more gives us the power to level our powerful cards against opponents. Villainous Wrath is one of our sweepers. This one will not only clear out men, but it will hit the opponent for each one of their men. It's not just a sweeper, but an additional way of dishing out damages. And thanks to being able to get cards back from our grave, we can reuse it multiple times and hit for additional damages. Wrench, Speedway Saboteur, is another way we have of taking cards from the opponent and using them to our advantage. Wrench gives us a look at the top 9 cards, a rather large amount, and we get to take 2 of them. We can even grab lands if we need more mana, or we can just grab their 2 best cards, leaving them with less ammo. The Rise of Sozin is another sweeper. When it enters, it destroys all men. And when we add a second lore counter, we get to pick a card to eliminate it and all copies from the opponent's deck, hand, and grave. Not only do we wipe their current threats, we also take out a big threat and prevent it from ever seeing play the rest of the game. On 3, we get Firelord Sozin, a 5/5 beast that we can use to get the opponent's dead men on our side. And thanks to an Auroral Procession, if Sozin gets killed off, we can get him back to do it all over again. Planetarium of Wan Shi Tong is a strong artifact that gives us a scry 2 for just 1 mana, then we can get a free play off the top. It's a great way to get additional plays and get an edge over the opponent. Plus, timing rules do not apply, so we can use the scry and potentially fire off a sorcery at instant speed. The green virtue is a staple of the series, and we have it here as well. It helps us ramp, but early on we can use it to get one of our men or a land back from our grave. Once we play it out as an enchantment, it will triple the mana we get from our basic lands. A second one will get us 9 times the mana from a single land. It's the best ramp available and gives us the power to take down opponents with our big X spells. For lands, we're playing 4 Fabled Passage, the special land that lets us fetch out any basic from our deck. And we have our now standard payload of deserts, starting with 3 Lush Oasis, the Simic Desert, 3 Festering Gulch, the Golgari Desert, 3 Soured Springs, the Dimir Desert, 4 Forest, 3 Swamp, and 4 Islands. Playing the deck will require patience, but is usually rather straightforward. Use bounce and token blockers from our talent in the early turns to stop as much damages from enemy men as possible. We need to survive into the mid-game, where our powerful cards can turn the tide against the opponent. A timely sweeper can take out a board full of enemies, and we have ways of getting back that sweeper for multiple uses. We keep ramping through the mid-game and use stock up to grab more weapons. Once we hit the late game, we have multiple ways of taking down the opponent's life total. Whichever method comes up, use it to make heads explode. That's the deck, boys. Let's go play some games.
Do you want to play a game?
This is Tabitha. No, wait, it's Tabatom. That's the male version of Tabitha. We're kicking things off with a 3-lander. We do have a stock up to help us out, but that's our first play. It's a risk, but we'll try it. Keep your pants on. They play out a farm animal. It's a little bit of life gain mixed with artifact and enchantment destruction. They essentially hate all our permanents. They drop in a helpful hunter, the cat of draw a card. While they are building a board of sorts, it is with men that are too small to be significant threats. Our stock up is still on schedule to be our first play. Maybe they have creature pump because all these men are still just 1/1. We draw a talent, and while we were planning on stock up this turn, we could use the token to block. Let's drop in another desert, and we'll set up with our talent. At the first opportunity, they use one of their farm animals. We want to reduce their numbers, and they just helped us out. They play out a watchdog, a 3/1 beater that gives them a surveil when it enters and dies. They send it, but we'll take the damages. We'll hold our token to block their watchdog. We draw a Horn of Plenty, and we'll play it out. The life gain is great, but at this point we need the mana to fire off our sweeper on our next turn. They use their second farm animal to snipe our Horn of Plenty. That's another one of their men down at least. Before our Horn of Plenty goes away, we'll use it to get back our talent. We could let it be destroyed first, then use the procession to get back the Cornucopia, but this way we can get everything back. They follow up with another hunter. So far, most of their men have been 1/1s, and that's just not enough to get the job done. They send it, and will block their watchdog. That is 3 damages that won't land. We draw our 6th land, and we'll drop it in. We can fire off our sweeper on our next turn if we still feel like we need to. For now, we'll play out our talent, then follow up with stock up. Let's take Luis here. The life gain plus the large body with lifelink to go with it might be enough to hold them off. Another talent would be fantastic as well. They play out a fungus, another piece of artifact and enchantment destruction. Bro has been traumatized by synthesizers and Bahama Mama. They use their fungus right away. The emotional damage is very real. They send it and will block one of their men. They're not going to get much of anywhere if they are trading away 2 men for only one of our cards. We drew one of our 5 mana sweepers, but we'll got with the rise of Sozin. We'll clear out their last 2 men, and we can snipe one of their cards on our next turn. They play out another fungus and use it right away. That's fine, that was their whole turn, and they have 0 pressure on board. We'll play out our talent this turn. Then we can level it up and get back our stock up. We could get the Procession and use that to get back permanents, but everything in our grave we have multiples of in our deck. They play out a Valkyrie's Call, that's interesting. But their men are dead, so it won't help them. We draw a Fabled Passage and that can help us out. We'll use it to fetch a forest. Then we can use our Virtue to get the passage back for another go. That's 4 lands on top. We'll take the bounce and, you guessed it, a land. The passage seems like it would be the better choice, as that will fetch out any basic land. They play out a Squire. It's a cat that will get bigger with every one of their men they play out. And of course, they follow up with a fungus. It's a never-ending parade of destruction. We'll hit them with one of our villainous wraths, and that will deal with their fungus. This time, it's gone for good. To our dismay, they play out Erase the Past. All their dead little men will get to come back for one last hurrah. Luckily, we have bounce for their Squire, or we'd be taking a pile of damages. They add to their board with an Inquisitor, but the joke is on them. We'll exile a land, the desert to be specific. We draw another sweeper, but if we hit them with a sweeper, they'll get all their men back anyways. They only have 10 men, so our villainous wrath won't kill them either. The best thing to do is play out a big Luis and snipe some of their life total that way. Then we might have them low enough that the wrath finishes them off. Their Squire returns, and this time we don't have the bounce we need to delay it. They follow up with a Dragon Sniper. They send everyone. One of them even has a kitchen sink. We'll block the Watchdog. It deals out the most damage. The rest of their men combined will dish out 10, but we're gaining 9. So in reality, they've done 1 whole damage to us. That's the problem with playing so many low-power men. Sure, they have numbers, but one Luis is keeping us from death all by itself. They didn't gain any life and have 12 men on board. There's no need for us to do anything other than fire off our wrath. Fire in the fungus hole. That's GG's, extra sweeper cheese. This is Sir Ix a lot. No wait, it's Ix star. Not sure what's up with the numbers. We get a 3-lander yet again. This one also has a stock up for our first play of the game, and that's if we draw an untapped land. We're going first, so that gives us a chance. Keep your hopes up. They play out an earthen ally. It's a small guy, but it promises to be followed by more men. One does not show up on its own. We draw a sweeper, which means we'll want to set ourselves up with black mana to be able to fire it off. They play out a guide. Now their lands and their men will be able to tap for a mana of any color. We'll crack our passage to fetch out a forest. With that, we can fire off the procession and get one of our passages back. They add to their men with a Haru, an earthbender that has only a pair of targets. Sure, they have plenty of mana since they can tap their men, but all they've got is a pair of lands. Let's fire off our stock up, and maybe we can use it to get a second black. The passage will get us our first black mana, then we'll be set to smash their men on our next turn. A virtue would be great, but so would any of the other 2 cards. A Horn of Plenty is life gain and ramp, but the biggest ramp is the virtue. Let's take it. They play out an enthusiast, but it's going to end up being just another victim. They follow up with an ascension, which they can use to pump one of their lands. I would be concerned about that, but I'm going to be too busy firing off a sweeper. This is an easy 5 for 1, and we even hit them in the face for 7. Not much they can do, but start the rebuilding process with only 3 cards left in hand. Let's keep building up our mana. We have the Doppel, All we need is to get the virtue down, then fire off a big Luis or hit them with a big Doppel. For now, Wrench can hold the ground. Let's see what we can snag. Oh yes, this tapeworm is coming over to the shark side. And that's a badger mole. We'll take it too. They grow their ally team, but it isn't going to be as well as when we use their men against them. We have enough to drop in the tapeworm and the cub with mana left over to use our bounce. They could easily double block our wrench if we send it in. Let's hold what we got. Our men will be far bigger on our next turn. They play out a cub, also, but their team is still very undersized compared to our men. They realize their dire situation and hit the bricks. That's GG's. Extra cheese. This is Tom Tom, the 27th version. What big eyes you have. We get a 3-lander, and thanks to the passage, we'll have at least one of each of our colors. A bounce early is great, and we have a stock up. Let's do it. Keep. We'll get our passage down first to fetch out a forest. Going first gives us a chance to fire off our bounce next turn. Luis is a solid late-game card. This early, he's not as great. Looks like they played out a Finn. I couldn't tell thanks to the alternate art. It's a poison artist, so we'll have to play with care. We'll drop in our Horn of Plenty. We'll be able to keep the mana up for our bounce since we'll want to avoid taking too many hits from old Finn. They tap out to play a Preacher. More Death Touch men for Finn to poison us out. Since they tapped out, we can bounce their Finn and the poison can wait for another turn. Thanks, but no thanks. We draw another bounce, which is absolutely fantastic against them. We'll fire off our stock up and see what we can get. The second stock up is great. We can use it to dig deeper and keep looking for solutions. A land here is great as well since we want to keep developing our mana, but the virtue can get us back a land from our grave. We did use a passage early on, right? Let's just confirm, mistakes can't be made. We will be forced to fetch out an island to be able to fire off our bounce. That's the only downside. They play out the Tiny Boned Wonder. His tiny bone will carry him far. They follow up with their Finn. The more men they have, the less of a chance we have to bounce everything. But we're not looking to bounce all their men. We want to send them to an early grave. We draw our 5th land, and that will be enough to fire off our sweeper on our next turn. This turn we'll fire off our stock up and load up on weaponry. That's another bounce, and a passage is always good. Bounce has bought us time to get to the point where we can clear their men out, so we'll grab another Rise of Sozin. Their Preacher comes back, but we've managed to make sure that it won't draw them extra cards or generate tokens for them. We'll have to eat these hits, but that has been by design. Enjoy them while you can, bro. The time is coming. The Rise of Sozin will smash. That's 3 men we won't have to worry about. Getting rid of Finn is great for us. With him on board, all they need is 5 hits and we're done. They don't like seeing the Rise of Sozin. That's an easy 3 for 1. We forced them into thanks to our bounce. They brought a tapeworm as backup to their poison men. I'm just glad they played that out and showed us what they brought to the fight. We get to name a card, and this is where we disable their deck. Let's take out Finn. There will be no more poison this game. They had one in hand. Smell you later, bro. The second Sozin will come in and take out more of their trash. We've already crippled their deck, and we'll hit them in the gut a second time. Death Touch men are all rather small, and without poison, the damages will take many turns before they can turn lethal. And that's a bunch of small men they just conjured up. Fear them, we do not. We don't have to worry too much about their men, but what could be annoying is their protection spell. Let's take it out. We'll play out our Virtue this turn. That gives us the mana we need to power out our X spells. They send it, we'll use our token to block. The damages mean little now since there is no poison coming. They use a Betrayal to take out Sozin and our grave in one fell swoop. Their problem is we get a second Sozin on our next turn, and we still have a hand and they don't. With 6 basics, that's enough for an 18-point Louis. We could drop them down to 2 life. With just 1 more basic, we can take down their life total on our next turn. Let's make sure we can fire off our ramp. Next up, we'll take advantage of our planetarium. That's a wrench for just 1 mana. We'll take it. A black Virtue would be strong, but let's just grab some of their men. Wait, that's an Innkeeper's talent. Let's take it. We were about to get back a stock up when they explode. Our advantages are too great for them to overcome. That's GG's, extra crippling cheese. And that, my friends, is another satisfied customer.